Hey everyone, Eric with Rockin H TV 68. Today we are going to take this daycab or this sleeper Freightliner and make a daycab Freightliner all out of diecast. Now you might be asking, why would we do that? Well, it's very simple. This, a daycab version is not available in diecast as of this recording. So the only way to get one is to make one, or if you like to use resin, you can buy one in resin and use that. But some of you, like me, enjoy using die-cast versus resin when it's possible. And I'm going to show you a simple way to make a day cab. Now, it's not completely uncomplicated, but certainly very doable, very learnable. You're talking about using a truck that's worth, you might find these on eBay for $20, $25 maybe, 30 bucks. So you have something kind of inexpensive to experiment with. Now, I'm going to show you how to disassemble this, make the day cab. I bought a bunch of these particular cabs for pennies because the guy had stripped some parts off of them that he wanted, including the frames. So all I bought was just this part, just the cab. There's no frame. Many of them already had the grills off or didn't come with them. Hi, Graciela. Thanks for watching. So you're not going to get to see a complete teardown, but what you will get to see is basically the long and short of it, the nuts and bolts that will get you where we need to go, okay? So, I'm going to grab my handy dandy rag here so we can move forward. If you're not familiar with what I'm doing today, Rockin H TV started out on Facebook. You can see me live every every Monday night at 8:30 Central at Rockin H Farm Toys on Facebook. But today, being Sunday, I thought let's go play on YouTube. So here we are on YouTube playing. You're going to need a few basic tools to get going. I'm going to show you how to do this with power tools. You do not have to have power tools to do this. I have power tools, therefore I use them. But you can use this, you can do this, you can accomplish this all with a simple file like this and a simple saw like this. You can buy any of these at hardware store anywhere. This comes from a hobby store. Hobby Lobby is where I actually bought this. And then you can buy a lot of this stuff in my Amazon store at rockinhfarmtoys.com. So I appreciate anything you buy there. So what I'm going to do is turn the camera around so you can see how I take apart what's left of this truck, and then we will go ahead and move forward. Here we go. You'll notice I'm working over this red rag. That is very practical because some of these tiny parts like headlights and stuff will want to bounce away, and this rag prevents them from being lost, okay? You're going to need a hobby knife. I like to have a flat-sided side cutter around and an awl or some sort of sharp device. You can push things, and I'll show you what I mean in just a moment. You'll need those things. Plus, I like to have one of these containers around so you can collect your parts. So let's begin. We're going to start with the interior, and this particular cab, it pops right out. So does the cab glass. We're going to set that off to the side because we're going to use both of those on reassembly. Next, we're going to move over to these headlights. Again, make sure you're doing this on something, on a piece of fabric, because these will potentially pop off and bounce away and you don't want to lose them. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking my knife and I'm cutting away this plastic that holds these headlights in place, okay? And it just slides right, it just cuts right off, fairly easy. Then you're going to take your sharp device like this awl, and we're just going to push those out like so, okay? And ta-da, here they are. There's both headlights, and we're going to save those for later. And I'm going to put them in this container so they don't get lost. Ta-da! All right, then I'm going to take my side cutter here, and I'm going to remove the air breathers. Now, these air breathers, I'm just kind of grasping them, just kind of, the jaws are open, pushing them on, and just twisting up. Ta-da, look at there. Doing the same thing over here. Okay, and there we go. Next, we're gonna do these mirrors. On some brands of trucks, they actually come with a second set of mirrors. This particular brand does not come with extra mirrors, so you wanna be careful removing these. So again, there's a piece of plastic right here. I'm gonna cut that away, and there's one at the top and one at the bottom. And that will make the mirror easier to remove. So you can't see that very well down in there, but it is there. And I'm just there. Okay, so I cut the plastic pin here and here on the inside. Now I'm gonna go ahead and take my awl. I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna push that plastic out. Okay, and you can see there it has come out. Okay, I'm going to do that at the top. Here we go. And there. Now we've salvaged both pins on that mirror and we did not break them. Hallelujah, that is awesome. Okay, going to do the same thing over here. And down there at the bottom. Maybe. I did another one of these and this one gave me a lot of trouble on the other one as well. Must be a lot of glue on that one. Golly, I'm actually pushing quite hard trying to get that out of there. Okay, there you can see it's starting to come loose. Out. There we go. Now, what we're going to do to make this a day cab is we got to get rid of this part of the sleeper and this part of the sleeper. I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera over to my saw over behind me. You won't be able to see it very well, but you'll get the idea. Again, you could accomplish this with this saw. It will take much longer, but you could be doing this while you watch TV, just sitting here, cutting through the die cast. Okay? You can accomplish it with this saw. Okay, so I'm actually going to cut right here with my bandsaw, and then I'm going to use my sander to make my lines nice and neat here, and you'll see that as well. Here we go. All right. Like I said, you won't be able to see it very well, but you'll get the idea. Here we are. All right. There is cut number 1. Cut number 2. And there we go. So you can see the 2 rough cuts. Now what I'll do is go ahead to my belt or to my disc sander over here, and I'm going to clean up these edges and that edge there. Now, of course, as I mentioned, you could be sitting here watching TV and using a file to accomplish this task as well. Okay, you do not have to have power tools to accomplish this at all. Okay, you could be doing this right there watching a ball game or something over a trash can. Your filings aren't getting in the carpet or on the floor, and making your cool model. Here we go. Okay, there we go. That is how I accomplish that task with the power tools. Again, you could use a file. You do not have to have power tools to do this. It just takes me, less than 10 minutes, about 5 minutes to do the actual cutting and the sanding to get all these lines nice and neat. And then what I'll show you next is how to get this paint off and make it so you can begin the next steps of the process, okay? So, yeah, there we go. That's how you get that done. All right. My favorite way to strip paint is I have a bucket of lacquer thinner here, and all I do is I just set this in the lacquer thinner, and I will show you that in just a moment. Here we go. Okay, there's my bucket of lacquer thinner, and my part is in there, and the paint should bubble up and come off. Works 90% of the time. On occasion, if I have stubborn paint, it won't come off, but actually on the YouTube channel, if you search 4 ways to strip paint, you'll see 4 different methods to accomplish paint stripping, okay? So right here on this channel, 4 ways to strip paint. All right. Next, now we need to go ahead and make this close off all these ends. Now you have a couple of choices here. One is you can take this and cut, now look at this big stem in here. That is a huge piece of diecast. What you could do is you could actually cut this back out, okay? Strip the paint off of it and then reattach it to this part of the cab. I'm not doing that in this video. Frankly, I mean, you lose some of this detail that's cast into the diecast, but yeah, it's just a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and I'm not sure that it's really, to me, it's not worth that much effort, so I'm not doing it. Okay. So what we will do, though, is we now have to put this on the back. We do need to close up this back and then put something over the top. Here we go. I have this piece of wood here. Actually, I'm going to get another one. There. Now I can have a nice even place to glue. So this is what I'm doing here. I want this piece of plastic here at the bottom to be even with the bottom of the cab, okay? And all of this excess plastic that's too big, we will shave that off after everything is glued in place, Okay, so don't worry about that at this moment. But what we'll do is we're going to take our glue. This is my favorite glue in the whole wide world. And I buy this on Amazon. You can get this in my Amazon store at rockinhfarmtoys.com. I have a store there linked to all of the products that I like using. And you get to buy on Amazon. But I get a commission for it, so I appreciate you buying there. So all I did was put a little glue on the die cast, and now I've got my plastic. Maybe you can see that a little bit better if I get you over in a camera shot. So now you can see that better. Okay. This is called Instaset inside the syringe. It's this stuff here, also in my Amazon store at rockinhfarmtoys.com. What this does is instantly cure that glue so we can continue working without slowing down. And I put it in this syringe with a blunt end here so I can use it precisely and not get it everywhere. So I can just put a couple of drops on each side. Done. Set that off to the side there. Now, this piece of plastic is glued instantly to the die cast. Next, we're going to take this piece of plastic and glue it to the top of the cab. Again, we are not worried at this very moment about all the excess plastic. What we are caring about right now is just getting it on the die cast where we can work with it. Okay. And I noticed my piece of plastic I have here in my left hand didn't have a very true edge. It wasn't perfectly square. And now it is. So, because anytime you can create seams and stuff that don't have gaps, it just means less work. And I'm all about less work. So we're going to take a little bit of glue on the top of the cab, going around. Okay. And then put that, whoops, looks like I put the wrong edge in there. One thing I didn't do was put an arrow on the front or toward the back. So now I know that this one goes to the back. Okay. Then we're going to take our Instaset. And we'll just put a little bit on the inside here. Just a drop. See? See that little drop right there? Just a drop. We don't need a whole lot. Okay, and just because we're living right and feeling free, we're going to go ahead and put more glue on the inside. Nothing wrong with JB Weld or JB Quick or some sort of epoxy. It's okay. Okay, all of that will be all right. Then again, I'm going to do a little bit of, just a drop. See, just a sniff. It doesn't take much. Now, we're going to let that chill for just a moment while I clean up my area. Okay, getting that out of the road. Okay, getting a few things out of the way. Next, what glue are you using, Kelsey asked. Right here, love. Or, sorry about that. Right here is what glue I'm using. This is called Maxicure Extra Thick, Ultra Thick, Maxicure Extra Thick. And I'm also using Instaset inside of a syringe for precision. So I'm using these two products on this. And you can buy these at rockinhfarmtoys.com in my Amazon store on my website. Okay, now I just cleaned up my tip a little bit so we can set that over here. And I'll just leave those out so you guys can see that. Okay, now, like I said, we've got all of this plastic to deal with. Now what do we do? Okay, well, I'm glad you asked. Well, you have a couple of choices here. You can take your hobby knife And we can just come in here like so, right along the edge of that die cast, and begin scoring that until you've cut through it. Let's see how we did. Well, sounds like I'm busting my plastic. Okay, you can also take your scissor, just like so. That's not glamorous, but it works, right? And take your side cutter here, I mean, doesn't really matter as long as it comes off, because we could take sandpaper and sand it. Okay. Okay, just like so. Let's see, is that cutting? Yeah, there we go. See how I scored that and now it's cutting, it's cut free? Look at that, gorgeous, isn't it? Okay. Nice. See how we're cutting that down? Okay. Okay. Look at that. Thing of beauty, huh? No, that's ugly. We don't want that just yet. Okay. Discarding all my excess plastic. Now you can use sandpaper, or you could use your favorite file. I've got a couple of them here that I like to use for this next step. I get that out of the road. Okay, okay. So we want to clean up all these edges because they're really ugly at the moment. So you could take, I just got 400 grit sandpaper, just stuff I have on hand, guys. I didn't go out and buy anything special for this. And then you just, and I wrapped it around my file so it's nice and straight, but now I'm just going to come in here like so and clean up those edges. See how I did that? See? Thing of beauty, isn't it? So I'm just taking my finger here to make sure I got all those edges nice and gorgeous. They're not nice and gorgeous yet, so I'm gonna keep going. Whoops, let's go grab a hold of that again. Okay. Uh-oh. Looks like we broke it. That's not a problem. We can fix that. I actually do kind of like to use JB Weld for this particular purpose, where you go on the inside of this instead of glue. I'm doing the glue just because you're watching and it's fast. But I do prefer to use JB. I mean, normally on some of my other videos on this channel, you'll see that I use a lot of JB Weld when I'm doing these cab splices and day cab conversions and stuff like that. So I'm just going to let that glue chill in there and do its thing. But I am going to hold it with my thumb as I sand. Well, okay, I'm going to have to switch fingers. It isn't going to work that way. Here we go. There we go. Now we got it. Okay. I'm all thumbs using my left hand versus my right. What I'm doing here is taking my fingernail. What I want to do is see if I've got that seam, if I've got everything flush with the cab. And it feels like I do. Okay, so now we're going to do the top of the cab. There we go. There we go. Right. Okay. That's feeling pretty good right there. Okay. And then we're going to do the other side. Okay, that's not too bad. Okay, next, across the top of the visor, this is at an angle. You can see right there how that's angled. So we want to make the plastic we put in there do the same thing. And you could use a Dremel rotary tool with a sanding disc on it. That would work for this particular process very nicely as well. You don't have to do exactly what I'm doing. And I am all in favor of doing things efficiently. You know, get what you want, do it smart, do it efficient. But you don't get paid more for taking longer, that's for sure. And if it takes longer, it just takes longer. That's all there is to it. And then, looky here. So we may have to come in and put a little bit of body filler right here along this seam. We're going to find out after we get some primer on it and take a look at it. We'll know more once the primer's on. Okay, now we have some pretty sharp edges, and you'll notice a little bit of rough plastic here from the sanding process. We're just going to come in here lightly and just kind of round those edges off. Just soften them up a little bit. You don't have to get real crazy. But if you'll ever notice on the real trucks, it's not a sharp edge. It is a soft edge. So our model truck is going to have soft edges. See that soft edge, like you like. Okay. And then I'm just going to go across the top a little bit here. I'm more on top than on the edge because I'm going to try and blend that cut line and the seam of this cab roof together. That's what I want to do here. See, I kind of blended these two, that seam together. That's what I was after there. Maybe just a little bit more right there on the corner to round that off, just a bit more, soften it up. Okay. 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 Now, what I like to do when I've kind of got to this point is two things. One, I like to take a drill bit, clean out any of these holes that might have leftover diecast or plastic, I'm sorry, in them. If you do it now, then you don't have to worry about screwing up paint later on when you go back to assemble. And for this process, what I'm going to use is a 3/64 bit, and I'm going to use a 3/64 bit. And Kyler asked, where did I get the cabs? I bought these from Mark's Toy Box on eBay. Okay, all I'm doing is cleaning them out. Just cleaning them out, that's it. This one is a little bit bigger. You can use a bigger bit, or another thing I like to do, well, whoops, almost got ahead of myself. You notice my battery's going down. There, get where those turn signals are going to be. Clean that hole out. Okay. Yeah, another thing I like to do is you can use a round file. Oh, great. Decals arrived and they're working great. Perfect. Kyler's Scale Models, he and I did a little business. I sent him some decals. Okay. This is a round file that is in reverse. Notice it's in reverse. There again, just cleaning out the hole. That's all I'm doing here. I just want to get any leftover plastic that may have been left over from the pins and whatnot. That's all I'm doing. Just cleaned them out. What drill? Just a cordless drill. Brand doesn't matter. Use any cordless drill you want. Okay. At this point, if my next step on this is to hit it with a bit of lacquer thinner to clean any of my fingerprints, any residue off, any weird stuff. You might give it a once over and look for any paint that you might want to, around windows openings and door openings that might need removed. But I like to get some primer on there to see where I'm at. And you'll notice on the inside, and even on this fender, I did not bother to remove all of the paint. Frankly, it's a lot of, in my opinion, it's a lot of work. Once you put tires on it, you'll go to assemble it. You're not going to see any of that anyway, so I don't really get too uptight about it. Okay, what I have here is just an old rag. And I dipped it in some clean lacquer thinner, and I'm just wiping this off. And the purpose of this is, looks like I got something else on my rag. Let's try another spot. The purpose of this is to prep it for painting. And all I'm doing is cleaning off all of my fingerprints, all the oils from my hands, any impurities, dust and junk from just being handled and whatnot. You'll notice I'm not getting too carried away. I'm just kind of cleaning it. That's it. I'm gonna do the top again because I got a big old fingerprint there. You don't want to spend much time with lacquer thinner on your plastic because it will melt the plastic. Okay. Next, I've got helping hands. I'm going to go ahead and attach it right there. There's a big piece of die cast on the inside. Actually, you could hold it like this because your grill will cover up anything we miss there. Okay. Okay, now I got my paint booth set up. I'm gonna grab some primer. I'm using just good old Rust-Oleum primer, nothing fancy. And normally you'd shake this quite a bit longer, but since we're together and I don't want to keep you too long, I'm just going with it. Okay. Okay, at this point, and excuse me just a minute. Sorry about that, I had to grab a Kleenex. Have you made more progress on the Brigadiers? Actually, that's a good question, Kyler. I just need to buy the beds. Just need to buy the beds and then assemble them and they're done. I'm going to use a company in China to buy them from and see how I get along with that. Okay, here we go. I'm going to try, I don't know if you can see this very well or not. Okay, you can see right up here, you can see a bit of the seam between the plastic and the die cast. You can see a bit of that seam. What I will do once this primer is dry is, where'd it go? Ah, my stuff, my goo, I can't find my, where'd it go? Huh. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna go ahead and take a little bit of this Bondo glazing putty. This is glazing and spot putty. I will go ahead and fill that seam in with this. And right here at the corners of the cab right here, I can use to sand kind of along this line, along this line right here and clean up that cab corner. With the light, I don't know, for some reason it's difficult to see kind of what I'm talking about here. Let's see, there you go. Now you can see it right here. Right here, I need to knock that off on both sides. It's there, doesn't look real pretty. So I'm gonna do that. Then on the top, I thought I had this must have been a bunch of dust in this seam because it looked good before I primered it. I'll go ahead and fill this seam in right here so that is not as noticeable. And then, you know, and if you wanted to, you could, like this line right here, see that line right there? That seam, technically you could leave that and say, I mean, in the real world, you would see a seam at the top right there because the way the sheet metal folds over, you would see a seam there and it'd be riveted closed. I mean, so you can take this to the level of completion that you want to, okay? So, let's see, is this hand dry? It's close. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna show you how I would use this. Okay, so my my primer on this is somewhat touch dry. So all I'm gonna do is take, man, that's hard to do. There we go. That's really difficult to do. There, I'll put my fingers in there like so. There we go. Now we can show you. And then once this is dry, you come in here and sand that off, and you're not going to notice that seam so much. And I'm going to take this, I'm going to go across the top of this too. There we go, just like that. And this glazing putty works so well. It's so simple to work with. Is this a Freightliner? Yes, sir. This is a Freightliner Classic. It started out, this is Sunset Trucker asking, it started out like this. This is a diecast cab, and we made it a day cab. Okay. And we've done it in approximately 40 minutes to get it to this point. Okay, I'm gonna get a little bit more. And Kyler asked me about some decals I sent him. Kyler, those were actually for a 22. I didn't realize that at the time, but that's all I have is decals for a 22. Yes, you'll have to cut those down and make them work however best you can. Okay. Yeah, I thought I must have only done 22s because I noticed that's what I have up on my shelf. All those trucks I did with those diamond decals are 22s. Okay, so this is what I end up having. So, well, let's get rid of that excess. Okay, so what I'm going to do then is I will just sand this down with my 400 grit used piece of sandpaper, and then once it's sanded, I'll go ahead and clean it again, and then I will shoot primer over it because it seems like I noticed the flaws once the primer's on. So, you know, and the primer, who cares if you prime it twice? Whoop-de-doo, right? So I'll sand this down, get it perfect again, or what I think is perfect, clean it, prime it, and off we go. And then if it's gorgeous, then I'll just shoot paint on it and do the next thing. Okay, so that is kind of the video I have for you today on how to make a die-cast Freightliner Classic day cab. Again, not an impossible project. If you've got 30 minutes in a day, or even 15, I mean, there's no reason you couldn't make this even if you have a tight time schedule and not a lot of available time. You can still do this very easily. Get you a couple hand tools, sit down in front of the TV, start working, and you can make this. It's not easy, but it is pretty simple overall. It's not easy. It's going to take you a little time, especially if you have hand tools. If you've got power tools like I do, you got this thing done in 40 minutes, okay? I mean, actually, if you were here in my shop and we had about 4 hours, this thing would be a completed truck. I mean, I'm not exaggerating, although the paint, might have to wait on paint. But anyway, that's the video. Please subscribe to my channel. Go to www.rockinhfarmtoys and buy stuff in the store. I get a commission from Amazon for anything you buy, and I appreciate the support. Also, if you want a complete class on how to do die-cast replicas, go to udemy.com, udemy.com, search for 379 replica class, and I have every video you'll need to make your a replica 379. Sunset Trucker says, make part 2. Of course, I'll make part 2. And then, I forget, I think it was Kelsey in there says, what is my favorite truck? What is my favorite truck? Ah, man, that's a tough call. What is my favorite truck? If you could see everything on my back wall over there, Kelsey, those are my favorite trucks. I don't keep them if they don't make me smile. Matter of fact, I got some stuff on eBay, it's like, once I get kind of tired of looking at them, they go away. I don't keep them. I do have a favorite. Where'd it go? Ah. Okay. Kelsey asked me what is my favorite truck. I don't know that this is my favorite, but this is one I really, really like, and I've got 4 more of them actually. Where am I going to put this? Right there. Okay. This is one of my favorites. I think this is just kick butt. Love this truck. This is a 1/60th scale Brigadier. My 3D printed grain box. These are made by Majorette. Buy them on eBay. You can usually find them between, I don't know, between 20 and about 50 bucks it seems. I don't even know where I bought. I bought this on eBay. I've got 4 more of them I bought on eBay. I trolled for a couple of months looking for them, and finally got them. But Majorette, and this is a GMC Brigadier. Love this truck. This is great looking, and I love. Man, I nailed the paint on that. God, I love that too. But I've got a lot of favorites up here on my shelf. Like I said, if they don't make me smile, I don't keep them. Anyway, 8-inch sleeper. So there you go. So catch me here in about 10 minutes and we'll do another one. All right, thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you. Bye.